the officer says that she has observed him makes that unsafe lane change, and that lane change is outside of the City of Belair Police Department jurisdiction. Now, we have a particular statute that governs whether officers can have the authority to make a detention of someone when they are outside of their jurisdiction, and that's 14.03 of
Their PD can still stop someone outside of Belair.
not for, well, according to the code, it says a peace officer.
That would mean that any officer outside would never be able to do anything.
No, that's incorrect. There's a very limited exception, and that's what applies in this case.
All right.
A routine traffic stop becomes a weapons case with a jurisdiction twist. Belair officer, Houston Freeway, and a defense ready to argue Texas Code 1403. Watch closely. One line in the statute might flip this entire hearing.
I had a chance to do a kind of little bit of digging into yes. And although we are still waiting for the bulk of discovery in the case, he's charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon following a traffic stop. And I've got a map that is kind of intriguing, I think you'll find, just with the way it's drawn. But he stopped by an officer with the City of Belair Police Department, and may I approach to just show you this delineation. This is, but he's pulled over going.
I know the area well.
Northbound. He's pulled over going northbound on 610 as he, what is described as makes an unsafe lane change. So he's northbound on 610, wants to get on 59 to go southbound, is erroneously in the wrong lane going northbound. The officer says that she has observed him makes that unsafe lane change, and that lane change is outside of the City of Belair Police Department jurisdiction.
Good morning, sir.
You're Trevor Flores.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flores, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Officers initiated a traffic stop after observing the defendant cross several lanes while failing to signal and almost causing a collision. Upon contact, the officers observed an odor of marijuana. The officers asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and asked whether the defendant had the marijuana inside. The defendant admitted he did have marijuana inside, as well as a firearm. During the search of the vehicle, the officers found a handgun in plain view on the driver's side floorboard, not in holster. And the officers also located 13 grams of marijuana under the passenger seat.
Got it. All right, Mr. Flores, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you not?
I have a SR22 in place. My license was suspended.
Okay, you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. It's possible you face another 6 months in jail. I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, promising you that you're not going to drive. Do you have liability insurance in your name? Car insurance?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you driving until you have a Texas driver license. You need to call DPS, figure out what to do to get your license. I'm going to give you the phone number now, but it's time for you to get your license back. And when you show me that you have your license and that you have car insurance, I will happily allow you to drive. But until that point, do not drive.
Am I not allowed with the SR22?
No, I don't know what's going on with your license. I don't know if you've ever had a license. What's going on? Alex, can you run it, please?
On the license?
Please.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, I can't give you legal advice, okay? But as it stands, until you have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, don't drive. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of any weapons as well. Do you understand? This is a condition of your bond. If I find that you have a weapon, I'm going to revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
26.
You do for a living?
High school football coach.
And I see it is not eligible, and it says it's a mandatory suspension due to driving with license invalid, as well as an SR suspension.
Okay, so you even have an SR suspension. You can't drive at all. So this is now a bond condition. If I find that you drive, I'm telling you, HE double hockey sticks to pay. You understand?
So I'm not allowed to retrieve my weapon back?
I'm ordering you now, while this case is open, not to have any weapons.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Here, Stephen, do you mind giving this to me, please? This is the number to the driver's license division to DPS. You need to call them in the morning to figure out what you need to do to get your license back. Don't call them at 9. Don't call them at 8. Don't call them at 1:02. You're never going to get through. You need to call right when the phone lines open, which is at 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll get through, give them your license number, and ask them what you need to do to get your license back.
Okay.
Once you do, I'll tell you, I'll take this off, you know?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need you to fill out an application for me. I'll take a look at it. And then, assuming you qualify, I'll give you a lawyer today. I'm going to have you sign this agreement with me today that you're not going to drive. And I want you to understand, Mr. Flores, I take this so serious. Don't drive. If you drove here, you can't drive home.
No, I didn't drive here. My father did.
All right, so I'll have you come up here, swear to us. May I have you go to Jemay, sign a reset, and then we'll have you fill out the application, okay?
Quick reset. Judge sets strict bond terms. No weapons, no driving until a valid Texas license and insurance. That's enforceable, with contempt leverage if violated. Fair guardrails for public safety, or too heavy-handed for a first hearing? What do you think?
All right.
Bringing a shared code book at the moment. We may have to have you look at a couple interesting things.
Okay.
And this is on the Trevor Flores case, Judge, and I think you visited with that gentleman earlier. He's present here in the courtroom at the moment.
Okay.
But I got the case this morning. I've had a chance to do a kind of little bit of digging
Cursory.
into yes. And although we are still waiting for the bulk of discovery in the case, he's charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon following a traffic stop. And I've got a map that is kind of intriguing. I think you'll find just with the way it's drawn. But he stopped by an officer with the City of Belair Police Department, and may I approach to just show you this delineation. This is, but he's pulled over going.
I know the area well.
Northbound. He's pulled over going northbound on 610 as what is described as makes an unsafe lane change. So he's northbound on 610, wants to get on 59 to go southbound, is erroneously in the wrong lane going northbound. The officer says that she has observed him makes that unsafe lane change, and that lane change is outside of the City of Belair Police Department jurisdiction. Now, we have a particular statute that governs whether officers can have the authority to make a detention of someone when they are outside of their jurisdiction, and that's 14.03 of
Their PD can still stop someone outside of Belair.
not for, well, according to the code, it says a peace officer.
That would mean that any officer outside would never be able to do anything.
No, that's incorrect. There's a very limited exception, and that's what applies in this case. So it says a peace officer who's licensed and is outside of the officer's jurisdiction may arrest without a warrant a person who commits any offense within the officer's presence or view, other than a violation of Subtitle C, Title 7 of the Transportation Code. So generally, any offense that an officer sees, he can arrest that person or detain them, as the way the code uses that term, arrest. He can detain that person. But when it's for a traffic offense, that officer is
It's not
required.
arresting him for a traffic offense, though.
Well, that was the basis for the stop.
Sure.
And but the way the code contemplates arrest, it's any, and that's defined in, I think, in chapter 15. But arrest as contemplated by the code includes detentions. And so this officer doesn't have the ability where that stop takes place to make that detention. That officer could detain him if he saw him committing theft, could detain him if he saw him committing an assault, can't for a transportation
So,
code
but
violation.
he stops him for whatever reason it is, right? Comes up to the car and he smells marijuana,
Yes.
right?
Well,
And
that's
then
what's-
don't they even get a drug sniffing dog? Is this the one where they get a drug sniffing dog and they find the weed and,
No, Your Honor, that's it.
was that a different case?
No, it's a different case, Judge, but the handgun, I believe, was in.
It was in plain view.
No, I think I think what's alleged is it's in conjunction with possession of marijuana. And for purposes of just this limited PC question, my focus is solely the detention. I'm not.
It's certainly crafty. It's great. But he's not arresting him for the traffic offense.
Well, but I think we're looking at a limited scope of what arrest means.
Here's the crux. Outside jurisdiction traffic stops are generally barred, but arrest in the code may include detention. Defense says traffic, no stop. Judge pushes back with plain view gun and marijuana odor. Smart statutory play. Does the exception swallow the rule?
So I think you're looking at arrest as in
So you, I
being
mean, you
arrested.
would be saying that really if he had committed an ag rob, right? Or
Well,
kidnapping, then even if he had kidnapped, like let's say he had a 2-year-old child in the car that he had kidnapped across state lines. Well, then according to this, because he's in a different jurisdiction, then you couldn't arrest him on that kidnapping charge too.
He saw a kidnapping taking place. The officer could arrest him under that code. But what he can't do is when there's a traffic code violation, we don't allow for example, the El Paso Police Department to come to Houston and then sit on the street corner and arrest people for traffic violations. We don't allow them to make those stops. And that's what's at issue here is a peace officer who's outside of his jurisdiction able to enforce the traffic
I
code.
know where you're going and I've seen it before, but I'm not.
And we're looking at G1,
Mr. Williams, taking your time.
Where exactly did it occur anyways?
Let me see if I can pull up
So I
the
think-
address. We don't have like any discovery in
Sure.
this case or how many dash cam or anything like
So what it says in there is 5600, 610 northbound. And what's so curious about this is
Is that still in Belair? Is it outside of
that would
Belair?
be outside of Belair too. And going northbound, southbound lanes are covered in the city of Belair. The northbound lanes, for some reason, are not.
I don't know. We'd have to look closer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
happy to
it's
look
something
further
that
into this.
you have to
Judge.
look. I mean, I can't make that determination now.
Fair enough.
Number two,
Yes.
he's not arresting him on a traffic offense.
Well, and I think what the code contemplates when it says arrest, and I think there's case law on this, is that it includes the concept of detention as that's been, because I think when that code was written.
And so what I'm saying would apply as well, though. Like if he catches a 2-year-old kid, right, that's been kidnapped, by your theory, he wouldn't be able to arrest him on a kidnapping charge too.
Well, it's not my theory, it's the code.
If he has a dead body in the car, he wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, that's a legislature question. And I mean, but they wrote that.
I can't imagine that the legislature intended that. I think that they intended for a traffic, let's say for speeding, right? Or your tail light is out. Yeah, not to arrest in that respect. But he goes up to the car, smells marijuana, sees a gun in plain view. I can't imagine the legislature intended in that purpose.
And my position, of course, is that, this may be for a motion to suppress later down the line, and I think there's still
But
plenty more to do in the
it's a
case.
freaking awesome argument.
Well, but the idea
I love you.
is
Mr. You're wonderful.
no right to
Right?
detain him.
Right? Really?
So I appreciate the judge, and we'll get it.
I'm not ready yet, but build it. If you build it, they will come. And then we'll take a look down the road and yeah,
Thank you, Judge.
for sure.
Bottom line, probable cause stands, bond conditions locked, and the suppression fight moves to future motions on extra jurisdiction detention. If proven, it could gut the stop's fruits. What's your take on this ruling? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more dramatic courtroom moments.